is the fundamental responsibility of a government, security.
Insecurity in the northeast. President Buhari meets governors, assures Nigerians of stability in the region.
The economy cannot be operated independent of human being. For the tanker driver that will go in there and pick this product, they are part of the economy.
Lagos state government moves to resolve crisis as petroleum tanker drivers withdraw services. Future Assured initiative reaches out to farmers, distributes 70 water pumping machines.
To the victims, you are victorious. You are no longer victims. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Also tonight, increase in cases of rape and sexual assault of minors. Female virtual artists join campaign against the evil practice. Hello and welcome to the news at 9 on NTA. Always remember to live responsibly by keeping with COVID-19 guideline protocols. I am Kenen Ima Abodike. Reading with me tonight is Adola Komi Akere in Lagos. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila will join us later from Sokoto. Thank you for joining us. We start with security matters as President Muhammadu Buhari has given strong assurances that the desired security and stability will be restored to the northeast sub-region and other parts of the country bedeviled by acts of crime and criminality. This followed the adoption of new strategies as well as the acquisition of state-of-the-art military hardware towards reinvigorating the fight against terrorists and other criminal elements undermining national security. This was at a crucial meeting with the Northeast Governors Forum held in the State House, from where Adamu Sambo now reports.
Members of the Northeast Governors Forum, led by Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, were in the State House to formally appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for the steps taken so far in the fight against insecurity and compare notes on the best way forward following renewed hostilities in parts of the sub-region.
The government of the region has commended the efforts of the federal government in taking a bold step with a view to securing the region. And I think security is not only about federal government, there's need for the federal government as well as the states and the local government to come together with a view to providing solutions that will end this crisis in the region.
At the interactive meeting, also attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Ministers of Defense and Police Affairs, National Security Advisor, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, as well as heads of other security agencies, the Northeast Governors Forum made these suggestions.
There is a need for the Nigerian government to address the root causes of the insurgency, which are not limited to endemic poverty, hunger, among others. People need to go back to their farmlands. People need to be resettled in their original homes so that they can start their means of livelihood. This is one of the reasons why insurgents are recruiting more into the sects. We also recommended that police should be empowered with a view to bridging the manpower gap that we are having in the Nigerian military.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who empathized with the people of the Northeast, especially Borno State, reassured them that things will improve very soon.
I assure you, Northeast governors, especially the governor of Borno, that we go to bed and we wake up thinking about you and how to secure our country, because that is the fundamental responsibility of a government, security. And our party, we recognize this, we campaign on the three fundamental issues: security, economy, and fighting corruption. Nigerians, we thank God, understood us and they voted us in. The general report I'm getting, other than the conventional one from the intelligence sources, is that the army should do better. And this is the truth. And we'll continue to do our best.
President Buhari said despite the limited resources occasioned by COVID-19, his administration will leave nothing to chance in its genuine efforts at achieving a safer and secured environment for the good of all. Already, he explained, modern equipment have been acquired and much more still to come towards empowering the armed forces in the task of protecting the nation's integrity. He therefore called for more patience, understanding, and cooperation from the citizenry, especially in the sharing of intelligence. The Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, the Chief of Staff to the President, the National Security Advisor, and all the service chiefs who spoke in support of the President were emphatic that normalcy will soon be restored. Apart from the challenges of security, the meeting also discussed issues relating to decaying infrastructure, especially roads, oil exploration and exploitation in the sub-region, as well as ways and means of enhancing the river basin development authorities for economic benefits. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the instrument of accession of the agreement for the establishment of the African Trade Insurance Agency. The agreement and the agency, which are registered with the Secretariat of the United Nations, is in line with the Charter of the United Nations. Kenneth Nanim has details.
Lack of adequate political, non-commercial and commercial risk insurance is said to be an impediment to the availability of finance for investments in Africa and the expansion of Africa trade and intra-Africa trade. The African Trade Insurance Agency, when executed, will therefore acknowledge previous multilateral efforts made by African states towards regional economic integration through cooperation in trade. Recalling the economic objectives and aims of the African Union, there are several African treaties on regional economic integration, including the treaty establishing the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, the treaty establishing the Southern African Development Community, and the treaty establishing the Economic Community of West African States. A memorandum from the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, stated that the request for the President's signature on the agreement was equal to the directive of the Federal Executive Council that the instrument be prepared and forwarded for execution. The ratification, therefore, was adopted at the Grand Bay in the Republic of Mauritius on the 18th day of May 2000. The objective and purpose of the agency is to provide, facilitate, encourage, and develop the provision of or the support for insurance, including co-insurance and reinsurance, guarantees and other financial instruments and services for purposes of trade, investment, and other productive activities in African states in supplement to those that may be offered by the public or private sector or in cooperation with the public or the private sector.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources Timipre Silva has officially inaugurated the Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code to optimize gas availability and delivery in the country, aligned with federal government's promise to add value to gas and make it available to Nigerians. Onengia Fineface tells us more.
With about 203 trillion cubic feet of gas in its reserve, Nigeria is considered a gas region with vast opportunities for export, added value, and domestic utilization.
This administration is driving key policy and regulatory initiatives that will enhance gas reserves growth.
The Nigeria Gas Transportation Network Code provides a set of rules and principles for gas transportation. The aim is to promote gas to power, growth of gas-based industries, and enhance revenue for governments. It will also promote gas trading and deepen penetration of gas to users in Nigeria.
The aggregate impact of our three anchor programs on gas, namely the Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code, the National Gas Expansion Program, and the Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Program, will help us achieve the presidential mandate of gas penetration, gas-based industrialization, and economic diversification.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources unveiled the Network Code Electronic Licensing and Administrative System for seamless use and migration to the Network Code for gas transportation. In Abuja, on NTA Fine Face. NTA News.
Tanker drivers under the aegis of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers Union (NUPENG) have suspended their activities in Lagos following unresolved grievances with the state government. Dotun Oguyemi has details.
There have been a series of meetings between officials of NUPENG and the Lagos state government to resolve the issues centered around extortion and harassment by security agents, delays and bottlenecks in getting access to the ports, and the bad roads. The drivers who have withdrawn their services were nowhere to be seen on their usual routes across the state, where about 75% of petroleum products are loaded.
The economy cannot be operating independent of human being. For the tanker driver that will go in there and pay this product, they too they are part of the economy. Not all of them are died or become incapacitated before you think of what to do. The little action, the action they are putting on today is not because they want to hurt the economy, but they are to show their grievances to the government that things should not be done this way.
The union says it took the decision because of the failure of the Lagos state government to address the major issues causing the drivers pain. In Lagos, Dotun Oguyemi, NTA News.
Few traders at the popular Ariaria International Market in Aba are counting their losses following an early fire outbreak at the shoes wing that was successfully contained by the artisans. Good news, Chima Ara reports that the untimely arrival of men of the State Fire Service provoked sentiment.
Although the fire had been put out at the time the news crew arrived, it was a chaotic scene as an angry mob descended on the firefighters who were captured scampering for safety.
Immediately we get to the scene of fire. Oh, they do not allow us. What we saw is beating. You can see my vehicle.
Aggrieved traders explained that phone calls made to the firefighting authority were not promptly responded to. Good loss to the inferno is estimated to be worth millions of naira. The cause of the fire could not be readily ascertained, but it was gathered that the affected building was also used for the sale of kerosene.
Can't talk exactly where this fire starts because we're selling kerosene here, which is calling bunkering, and some people smoothing work here, which is calling smoothing, dressing this our shoe, and another man here giving light. He have very big lister, different, more than 3-4 lister here. So we know exactly where the fire starting from.
Calm was, however, restored at the scene following the combined efforts of the Nigerian police and army. In Aba, Beauty Egobame, NTA News.
National Population Commission has launched the automation of birth registration and digitization of civil registration and vital statistics. Omenka Amarachuku reports that the launch commemorates the 2020 Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics.
The National Population Commission is taking the bull by the horn in ensuring that proper birth and death records are kept. Challenged by 43% birth registration profile and 10% death records annually, the Commission is collaborating with relevant stakeholders to review strategies of ensuring a new regime of accurate data formulation with 2020 Africa Civil Registration at the front burner.
The only way that we can give an accurate figure for the population of Nigeria is when we conduct a census. All we can do in our circumstance is to carry out projections and give estimates. And by the projection that we have done, mid-year 2020, we are 206.3 million persons in Nigeria.
Today's commemoration is a large legacy of the vision of the first conference of African ministers responsible for civil registration held in Addis Ababa in 2010, which marked the beginning of coordinated and integrated efforts towards improving civil registration and vital statistics in Africa.
The registration of vital events of birth and death rate will be used to provide information on possible strategies to the Commission. In Abuja, Umenka Mrachuku, NTA News.
As part of its economic empowerment drive, the Future Assured initiative of the First Lady Hajia Aisha Buhari has reached out to farmers in Jigawa State, distributing 70 water pumping machines to boost their agricultural production. Awal Kazauri reports.
Future Assured program is an initiative of the First Lady Hajia Aisha Buhari as a non-governmental organization set with the aim of advocating and supporting the well-being of women and children in particular. The program focuses on three broad areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. The wife of the President Hajia Aisha Buhari, represented by Dr. Zainab Abdurrahman, said the program is to support farmers to increase production and reduce poverty, especially in rural areas. She said youth, as the future of the country, need to engage in productive ventures.
This COVID, we have been trying to cushion the effects of the lockdown. So Future Assured is an all-rounder.
Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, represented by the Special Advisor on Political Matters, Aminu Kanta, says Jigawa State government is proud to be associated with Future Assured program as it is improving the living standard of the people. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
And to education now, where the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says Post Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, Post UTME, screening for the 2020 admission processes will now begin not earlier than 7 September 2020 in universities, polytechnics and colleges of education in the country. The board said the shift in the date of the admission process from the earlier announced 21 August is to accommodate candidates who will be taking part in this year's school-based senior school certificate examination (SSCE). Registrar of JAMB, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, made this known on Monday after a consultative virtual meeting with vice-chancellors, rectors and provosts of tertiary education institutions. Professor Oloyede says the view of JAMB is to consult at a point when it becomes necessary for collective decision, noting that as custodian of higher sector of the education system, JAMB wants to avoid students running from one state to the other for post-UTME examination after NACO and other exams. The JAMB board said institutions whose post-UTME screening is mandatory for candidates would have to spread such exercise in 2 phases. He said, for those institutions who want to take post-UTME that cannot be earlier than the 7th of September, and it will be held twice, 7 September to 4 October, and then it will be held for the second time on the 18th November to mop up those who are taking their school certificate examination. End of his quote. Oloyede, who commended the various submissions of heads of tertiary institutions during the meeting, said institutions that conduct admissions without the administration of any post-UTME screening should also ensure candidates whose SSCE results will be released towards the end of the year and are not denied participation in the admission exercise. The JAMB's registrar also reveals that the board has withheld results of candidates that sat for this year's UTME at correctional service centers, prisons, over suspected infractions. The virtual meeting attracted about 488 participants from across the country. We now pause for some messages. Do stay with us.
As I talk to you plenty, Nana, because I get glue too. That make me talk. Please, I be not be so. All right. Don't be say I won't talk plenty. Una no self say I know they lie. You see this glow? If you get them, una no go even Nana go just they talk they go because it's not there.
Enjoy international calls from as low as 40 kobo per second from Nigeria to the world. Call your loved ones today.
Thank you, my sister. You do well, eh?
Glow Unlimited.
The Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timothy Silva, welcomes His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR,
to the virtual commissioning of the 17-story Nigerian Content Tower,
1,000-seat capacity auditorium, 4-level car park,
and 10 megawatts gas-fired plant in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Date:
Thursday, August 13, 2020. Time:
11:30 a.m. In line with COVID-19 social distancing protocols, attendance is strictly by invitation.
Members of the public can follow the event live on NTA,
TVC,
Channels TV,
Arise TV,
as well as on NCDMB social media platforms.
NCDMB, building local capacity capacities in the Nigerian oil and gas industry.
Signed, Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, FNCS, FBCS, FIIF, cordially invites you to the second phase of the virtual commissioning of projects under the digital economic sector. Tertiary Institution Knowledge Center, TIKC, Delta State University, Abraka, School Knowledge Center, SKC, Government Day Secondary School, Hazan Central, Gombe State, eHealth Data Sharing Center, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU, Bauchi, Virtual Examination Center, Unimaid, University of Maiduguri, Emergency Communications Center, ECC, Ilorin, Kwara State, Emergency Communications Center, ECC, Calabar, Cross River State, Information Technology Innovation and Incubation Park, University, Aingba, Kogi State, Information Technology Capacity Building Center, College of Education, Gumel, Jigawa, Information Technology Capacity Building Center, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State, New Neighborhood Post Office, Nassau Microfinance Bank Branch, Delta State, Remodeled National Mail Exchange Center, Mbiama, Ahodo West Local Government Area, River State. The projects are part of developing digital economy for a digital Nigeria. Date Tuesday, 11th August 2020. Time 11 a.m. Announcer, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy.
Chowder, non-stop. Non-stop chowder. Let's go.
Oh, stop. They are germs. You'll fall sick. Daughter, why don't you stop them?
Mom, stopping the kids from playing stops the learning. That's why we stop the germs.
Indeed, Safeguard fights against germs. Safeguard removes 99% of germs.
Why don't you stop them? We have to stop. Not the kids, but...
Small doesn't mean it can't be huge. Waking up each morning to feed your neighborhood during a pandemic is no small thing. The world might call them small retailers, but we think of them as giants. And by supporting them, you can be one too. So keep going to Ahmed, to Linda, and to Samuel, because they're the closest thing to visiting family when you have to go shopping. Because individually, we're all small, but together, we are giants.
This is to announce that the published advertisement by the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, in the Federal Tenders Journal Volume 16, Number 5, inviting eligible bidders to participate in the procurement categories A to F has been cancelled. Following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic and in compliance with the guidelines issued by the Presidential Task Force on curbing the spread of COVID-19, FEMA regrets to inform all interested bidders and the general public of the cancellation. We regret the inconveniences this might have caused you. Signed, Management.
Encourage shopping with the right place for.
That one no fine.
No, it's too dull.
This one.
Oh wow, it's beautiful. Omo, this fabric. It gon' fade though.
Yeah. Look, make I tell you something. The new area Ankara, it go take good care of it.
No charm.
Right? Not lie. Not true.
And the price
cheap.
Try new Ariel on your Ankara and colors now.
Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria is yet to reach the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the recent decline in confirmed cases should not be used as excuse for irresponsible behavior and actions. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, gave this warning at Monday's briefing in Abuja. Metaire Ben was also there.
Nigeria's COVID-19 positivity rate is put at about 15% of more than 300,000 samples tested so far. Despite the modest effort in managing the pandemic, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 draws attention to the fact that Nigeria is also sadly approaching the mark of 1,000 fatalities.
I believe that if we ramp up the tests, if the subnationals deploy resources, deploy manpower, collect samples, search, detect, test, and take into isolation and provide care, we will see much bigger figures. For one test that we have confirmed, the likelihood is that 7 would have escaped. So to give you a very good picture of the figures we are talking about, multiply what we have today by 7 of the rates of infections that have probably spread all over this number of local governments.
Our focus is still to reduce fatality to less than 1%, not only with preventive measures, but also with a strategy that encourages citizens to report early for treatment and for hospitals to attend to all patients in distress.
For those who continue to deny the existence of COVID, I would say that close to 20 million people cannot be wrong. We have about 730 deaths worldwide.
Ahead of the WAEC examinations, the Minister of Environment assures parents and students of safe, decontaminated centers.
Also, there will be a daily decontamination of the examination halls. As to whether we have decontaminated private schools, no, we haven't. We told them to decontaminate and disinfect their schools. The guideline is that they must use licensed environmental health officers, and they are all across the country. Until you do that, we will not certify your school as being decontaminated and disinfected.
The PTF notes that community transmission of COVID-19 is still on and urges Nigerians to take responsibility and stick to wearing a mask to prevent infection, especially from asymptomatic cases. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
26 more COVID-19 patients have been treated and discharged by the Akwa Ibom state government. Susan Asoko reports that the state government at the moment has only one active COVID-19 patient in its isolation center in Ibom Multi-Specialty Hospital and a few others in other facilities.
Fight against the coronavirus pandemic is still on across the globe. While the gradual opening of the economy and relaxation of lockdown seems to be causing a spike in the number of infected persons, Akwa Ibom state government is recording more wins in the fight against the virus. With 26 more COVID-19 patients treated and discharged at the Ibom Multi-Specialty Hospital, Uyo, it is an indication that effort of the state government and huge resources sunk in to fight the dreaded virus is not in vain. One of the recovered persons, Mfonobong Ekanam, said she is one of those who never believed that COVID-19 is real.
I was called and told that my test result was positive. Heaven knows that I cried for one whole day because I was like, something that I never believed existed.
We are happy because we are not reporting any death.
The duty of care passes to individual responsibility. We must be responsible.
The management of these diseases is also successfully being taken. The tests are available.
So far in Akwa Ibom State, 198 COVID-19 patients have been treated and discharged, with 29 active cases still receiving treatment and awaiting discharge soon. Susan Asoko, NTA News.
As part of measures to ensure that both teachers and students in exit classes are protected from COVID-19, Ebonyi State government has educated stakeholders on safety protocols in an exercise tagged COVID-19 Academic Exit Class Sensitization in Abakaliki. Kingsley Okoro tells us more.
The sensitization attended by principals and teachers of exit classes was designed to educate them on various measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19 among teachers and students as they prepare the external examinations. Some of the participants who lauded the initiative describe it as timely, even as they pledge to take the message to their various schools.
It's very interesting. The program is a welcome development.
I have to appreciate and thank the governor for organizing this training in order to prepare the teachers and for the teachers to go home and prepare the students against this COVID-19.
Governor David Umahi, while flagging off the program, urged the teachers to secure Ebonyi future by ensuring that all the students adhere to COVID-19 protocols in their schools.
We believe that as students are coming to school, there is washing hands locations. As soon as they wash their hands, they sanitize and go to their classes. No nose masks, nobody should be allowed into school.
At the end of the program, teachers are expected to work with health workers to ensure safety of the students during and after the examinations. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
Now to politics. Ahead of October 10 governorship election in Ondo State, some chieftains of All Progressives Congress (APC) have agreed to join forces towards the re-election of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. This was the fallout of a peace meeting held in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Olubukola Aduwo reports.
The meeting tagged New Beginning, which had some governorship aspirants in the July 20 APC governorship primary election, and other aggrieved leaders of the party in attendance, was held behind closed door. At the end of the meeting, one of the aspirants, Isaac Kekemeke, explained the rationale behind the meeting, which he described as strategic for the success of the party and its candidates in the October 10 governorship election in the state.
We have come together as a strong, united party, ready to win again. Governor Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu is fit for the job, is going again for the second time to fulfill all what he has started.
The incumbent governor, who is also seeking re-election, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, said the need to close ranks with all the aspirants, leaders and members of the party for them to speak with one voice is crucial towards the victory of the party in the election.
All presumed tendencies in APC have all come together to agree to work together.
Other leaders of the party, including the Senate Deputy Leader, Professor Ajayi Borofis, said the meeting has shown that every member of the party is ready to work for the re-election of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
Entrenching the peace and security of any nation is both the function of government and the citizens themselves. This position was the thrust of a conversation by a cross-section of Nigerian politicians who believe that government must be supported in her efforts towards securing the lives of its people. Timothy Yusuf reports.
This assembly, comprising civil society organizations, political bodies and youth groups, seeks for the resurgence of conscience and ensuring justice prevails against incessant cases of violence in some parts of the country.
Our God, the Almighty God, designed Nigeria for greatness, to grow into a superpower among nations.
Affirmatively, we are saying that we have not given birth to robots. We have given birth to human beings that are teachable, that are changeable, developable, and transformable.
The youth groups is believed to have a critical role to play in ensuring a peaceful environment, especially in the area of advocacy and the need to refrain from being used as political thugs.
We have all it takes, constitutionally and otherwise, to address this situation.
Participants believe that building a new and progressive Nigeria is possible with high level of patriotism. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has reinstated Advanced Congress of Democrats, Progressive People's Alliance and 20 other political parties deregistered by the Independent National Electoral Commission. In a unanimous decision, the court declared as illegal, unconstitutional, null and void the judgments of the Federal High Court upholding the Independent National Electoral Commission's action deregistering the political parties. The four-man panel, led by Justice Shodibe Lokulo, held that the deregistration was illegal, having failed to follow due process. The court also held that INEC's actions were not in compliance with Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution as amended, as they did not indicate reasons for the deregistration of the political parties. INEC had claimed that the deregistered parties breached their requirements for registration as they failed to win at least 25% of votes cast in one state of the federation during the presidential election. The family of Chief Samuel Ladoke Akintola, the former premier of defunct Western region of Nigeria, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for naming the Omi-Adio-Ibadan railway station after their late dad. In a letter jointly signed by Chief Abayomi Akintola and Dr. Abimbola Akintola, the family said it appreciates the great honor done to their father, even after more than 50 years of his death. The family also acknowledged what it called the many good works President Buhari is doing for the country A statement from the special advisor to the president, media and publicity, Femi Adesina, quoted the family to, among other things, say undoubtedly the man you are honoring was a renowned orator, teacher, journalist, legal luminary, politician of first-class order, devoted Christian, nationalist par excellence, and a family man of no mean status, who contributed immensely to the attainment of Nigeria's independence. End of quote. We do have more reports with Adeola in Lagos.
Thank you, Kenny. The incessant cases of road traffic crashes caused by trucks and trailers have drawn attention of traffic management authorities. This time, the Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 2 Command, in collaboration with other relevant agencies, has flagged off its latest strategy, Operation Scorpion, to curb the menace in Lagos.
Some of the major causes of road traffic crashes identified by the Federal Road Safety Corps include unlatched containers, overspeeding, disregard for road signs, among other causes. In tackling this menace that is claiming lives across Nigeria and incapacitating many, the Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 2 is reinforcing its commitment to ensuring safety of lives on roads within its jurisdiction. During the enforcement drive, over 30 trucks were impounded. This trailer driver is among those arrested for knocking down a road user and personnel of the Federal Road Safety Corps who was on duty. The victims have been taken to the nearest hospital for treatment. The leadership of the Federal Road Safety Corps says it will not relent until sanity is restored on roads across the country. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery, in its usual magnanimity, has commenced training of second batch of 200 youths from Ibeju-Lekki Axis and 9 technical trades for the next 6 months. Amaka O has the details.
Ibeju-Lekki is the new bedrock of industrialization and site that hosts the largest refinery in the world. Dangote Petroleum Refinery is not just focusing on infrastructure transformation, but also strengthening relations with host community, Ibeju-Lekki, by building the capacity of the youths.
We thank them for doing this one. If they have been trying more, we still thank them.
For 23-year-old Oluwatobi Ajayi and 32-year-old Jamiu Anifowoshe, it is a dream come true, as they are among the privileged beneficiaries to be empowered in air condition and electrical appliances repairs.
And it will also help me when they apply me to help me financially, in order for me to provide for my family.
By the time we finish the training and I'm being employed, I take with that the little money, salary being given to me, I'll be able to use it to feed myself, feed my family.
To the leadership of Dangote Petroleum Refinery, in collaboration with the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, the initiative best illustrates the saying that teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime.
The vision of Alhaji Aliko Dangote is to equip the youth so that they can acquire skills, they can find employment, but more importantly, they can become entrepreneurs and develop into businessmen.
Look into acquiring skills, even if you have gone through tertiary organizations, to support what you're doing. They can take your certificate, they can take you out of jobs, they can't take your skills from you.
Dangote Petroleum Refinery will also support the trainees with stipend, scholarships and other entrepreneurial opportunities. In Lagos, Amaka O, NT News.
It's time for us to go on another break. The news will thereafter continue with Kene in Abuja.
You clean your teeth every morning, but that fresh breath feeling just doesn't last. The answer? Easy. You keep your teeth strong and healthy and give your mouth long-lasting fresh breath with new Oral-B 2-in-1 toothpaste. It helps strengthen your teeth and gives you long-lasting fresh breath.
So fresh, still fresh, and still fresh.
Stay strong, stay fresh. New Oral-B toothpaste for strong teeth and long-lasting fresh breath.
Stores at 80 naira.
Here is a very tough guy who knocks out every opponent. But now he's been knocked down by malaria.
Amatem Soft Gel.
Amatem Soft Gel makes treating malaria easy. Amatem Soft Gel is a game changer.
The opponent is down. Amatem Soft Gel are good to combat malaria for body.
Available for adults and children. Say no to malaria. Yes to life.
Welcome back. More than 50 communities across 5 out of the 7 local government areas that make up Adamawa Central Sanitary Zone are currently enjoying the solar power street light, a project facilitated by the senator representing the zone, Aishatu Ahmed Binani. Rayano Bala reports.
1,600 solar power streetlights were installed in Eola North, Eola South, Song, Fufore and Hong local government areas for enhanced security and development. Senator Aishatu Ahmed Binani of Adamawa Central said, the gesture is to complement government's effort at providing more social amenities to the people.
This project is a federal government project under the intervention of sustainable development goals.
Representative of the benefiting communities, among other speakers at the ceremony, commended the senator for such a project that will impact positively on their social lives. The solar power streetlights are also expected to be installed soon in the remaining 2 local government areas in Adamawa Central, which include Gombe and Gire. In Eola, Rayano Bala, NTA News.
The need to encourage women and girls to pursue careers in ICT for a more dynamic technology sector, curate employment opportunities and ensure gender equity was the rationale behind African Scholars Care Initiative's desire to partner and train 100 girls in ICT for youth inclusion. Minister of State for Science and Technology Mohammed Abdullahi, who inaugurated the project, emphasized the ministry's resolve to work with agencies to promote gender equality in accordance with Sustainable Development Goal number 5. Justin Bem-Unyi reports.
One most significant challenge facing largely the developing countries, statistics reveal, is a rising youth unemployment rate. This informs the theme of this year's International Youth Day, Youth Engagement for Global Action. In response to these emerging issues, the African Scholars Care Initiative, in partnership with Digital Skills Foundation France, is to induct and train 100 girls in ICT in line with 2030 SDG Goal 5, which is geared towards gender equality and women and girls empowerment.
We intend to engage these girls on the following programs: computer appreciation, including cybersecurity, graphic designs, illustration, digital marketing, mobile banking.
Everywhere you go, you find out that the guys are more ICT savvy. So we need to ensure that the girls compete favorably.
Inaugurating the project, which will be a 6 weeks intensive training of the first batch, Minister of State for Science and Technology Mohammed Abdullahi viewed that the current situation has brought to fore the important role digital technology is playing to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on youths and social interaction across societies.
Women accounting for less than 20% of ICT expertise in Africa. This gap needs to be closed by encouraging young girls and women to embrace education through advocacy and sensitization of teachers, parents, and society, and workshops and trainings like this.
Aside the training project, a sensitization centered on the need for a resilient youth in the era of COVID-19 and beyond will be conducted. Justin Bem-Unyi, NTA News.
A State Action Plan Committee adopting a United Nations template to end gender-based violence and promote peace has begun work with inauguration by the Nasarawa State Government. From Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports.
The UN Action Plan Against Gender-Based Violence has Action Aid and other NGOs championing the initiative as Nasarawa joins 11 other states.
We are willing to continue to work with the state government to ensure that every woman, every girl in Nasarawa State is liberated from the influence and effect of violent extremism and increase sustainable development.
The UN SRCR 1325 was a landmark resolution which affirmed the important role of women in prevention and resolution of conflict.
Governor Abdullahi Sule says all forms of crime against women and children must stop. He says the state government will give adequate support to the committee to succeed, as he urged stakeholders to support the campaign. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
Let's now join Abdul Rahman in Sokoto for more stories.
Hello, good evening, Kene, and welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Government has distributed protective kits against COVID-19 to public and private schools. This is to curb the spread of the virus among students. With the federal government's decision to reopen schools for exiting classes to enable the students write their final exams, Sokoto State Government began fumigation of schools. This event is organized to flag off the distribution of protective kits to 125 public schools and 70 private schools in the state. The items provided include face masks, customized hand-washing basins, hand sanitizers, and infrared thermometers. The schools are expected to use the protective kits to curb the spread of coronavirus among students. The principals were urged to monitor their students and report any symptom of COVID-19 to the appropriate authority.
If the student happen to have high temperature or fever, then we'll refer to the clinic, school clinic, where he will be examined and assessed. If need be, then the rapid response team of the COVID-19 will be called upon.
State Commissioner Water Resources Umar Baturi announced the ban of all sporting activities in the schools to curb the spread of coronavirus. The need for local government areas to support the fight against COVID-19 was also emphasized. Zamfara State Government has fumigated secondary schools across the state. The exercise is aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19 and other infectious diseases among students and their teachers. Haliru Muhammad Umar reports.
The fumigation exercise, which commenced at Government Girls Arabic Secondary School Gusau, is part of the process of the partial resumption of schools ahead of the commencement of the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate examinations. The exercise is a collaborative effort of the Ministries of Education, Environment, Health and Information, designed to ensure safety in the 193 public secondary schools across the state for the final examination and subsequent academic and extracurricular activities.
This is to make sure that not only the COVID-19 virus, even mosquito will not live. So our students will be safe, inshallah.
So we are trying to make sure that at least all the schools, dormitories, laboratories, and classrooms are well.
I assure you that all the infrared thermometer, they will be by the gate with our personnel taking their temperature, and all the sanitizers, the washing hand materials, face masks, social distance will be applied.
The commissioners noted that adequate human and material resources have been mobilized to ensure the timely completion of the exercise in all the schools, just as other necessary measures put in place in line with the COVID-19 protocols. According to the Commissioner of Education, private schools have also been directed to comply with the COVID-19 guidelines as exiting students resume. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
It's time to pause for some messages, and the news continues shortly.
On Tuesday Alive this week, taxation and economy. Impact of effective tax system. What are the success stories, challenges and projections? what is in place to block leakages and encourage more buying with a stamp duty. Join us on NTA Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. for answers and more. Don't miss it.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Statistics from the National Human Rights Commission indicate that Nigeria experienced an increase in the cases of rape of women and sexual assault of minors since coronavirus pandemic started. Female visual artists in the country have therefore risen to join the growing campaign against the evil practice by organizing an exhibition of artworks depicting the negative effects of sexual and gender-based violence on the society. Olabode Arewa has more.
The aftermath of sexual assault or rape can be extremely difficult, with painful emotions and experiences for the victims. Chinze Ojobo, a visual artist, shares the story of how the sexual molestation of a neighbor's daughter changed her perspective.
We need to make the women understand, and also at the same time, we're using this to also show that we can use art, to treat and to heal people, that have been victims of this rape.
Such pathetic story inspired these artists to put together this art exhibition to draw attention to the dangers of sexual and gender-based violence.
There isn't enough, template. There isn't enough action plan to discuss issues for people who have survived rape to get counseling or to get some sort of outlet for expression. And so hence the need for this art.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and the National Human Rights Commission have also lent their voices to the cry of the artists.
To the victims, you are victorious. You are no longer victims. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Always learn to speak out.
Rape and STD are gross violations of human rights, and they also affect the right to human dignity, the right to life.
The central theme of the art exhibition, which is Stand Up and Speak Out Against Rape, urges parents, victims, and the society at large to always remember that there is a just remedy for anyone affected by sexual assault, and victims can recover and gain their lives back. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Olumide Guntala will now bring us sports update.
The National Coordinator of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Dr. Sani Aliyu, said the federal government approved use of recreational parks for supervised physical exercise only, while some selected outdoor non-contact sports are also approved.
This includes lawn tennis, table tennis, squash, badminton, and other non-contact outdoor communal activities. In the event that people are not certain, please contact the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports for further guidance.
And we believe very soon normal activities in all sporting activities will commence. More especially as we are having the Olympic qualifiers, that will also soon start. We are very, very grateful to the federal government.
We are putting in place some of the COVID-19 sport code and protocol so that we will resume our remaining program of activities of the year 2020.
This will enable our athletes train for the National Sports Festival
and also the very, very important Olympic Games.
And as activities are gradually returning to sports sector, especially in Africa, the Nigerian Football Supporters Club has promised not to relent in its role of promoting unity in diversity in Nigeria and the world at large.
This is what they appreciate all around the world. Go to all the countries of the world. All other members of their own supporters club sing our songs because ours is a culture.
The President General of the club further affirmed that his members are ready for the post-COVID-19 era. From the foreign scene, quarter-final matches of this year's Europa League will be concluded on Tuesday when Shakhtar Donetsk takes on Barcelona, while Wolverhampton Wanderers will play against Sevilla. Meanwhile, attention will be shifted to UEFA Champions League quarter-final on Wednesday when Atlanta will trade tackles with Paris. Manchester City vs Lyon concludes the rounds of matches on Saturday. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
The First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari has received with deep sadness the news on the death of Major General Samaila Ilia, the husband of Deborah Ilia, Nigerian ambassador to the Republic of Congo. He died on July 31, 2020. The general was an astute soldier, military administrator, and family man. The First Lady therefore offers her condolences to Ambassador Deborah Ilia and the family over the loss and prays Almighty God to repose his soul and grant his family the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. The Nigerian ambassador to Monrovia, Liberia, James Gotuwanudimka, has expressed deep sorrow over the demise of his colleague and friend Tunde Oladapo. Ambassador Dimka recalled his personal relationship with late Tunde at professional level when he joined the Ray Plateau State Radio and Television as a reporter, and the indelible mark he made in the journalism profession during his time, describing late Tunde as a socialite that repeatedly nails the who is who in Plateau State and indeed across Nigeria. Ambassador Dinkar extolled his virtues of interpersonal skills and hard work that achieved results, especially as the Secretary General of the League of Veteran Journalists in Plateau State. Ambassador James Gotuwanudimka urges family members, friends and well-wishers of late Tunde to preserve his legacies even in private practice and take solace in the exemplary life he lived. That concludes Network News tonight. Thanks indeed for watching. My name is Kenne Ima Abulike. Good night.